Today on Ship Chasing, we're taking a break from Ball Mania, and we are throwing on our running shoes because we are entering the sprint. It's one of Underdog's new formats they just rolled out. Very similar to BBM, except there are no playoff pods. It is cumulative scoring weeks 15 through 17, very similar to FFPC style for any of you who have played in that format. So we're going to talk through some of the kind of, strategic shifts we're making for that contest, and then we will naturally hop in a draft and get those ideas on their feet. This is Ship Chasing with Pete, Ben, and Pat. Let's do it.
Pat Fryer Helmo.
This is why I'm hot.
Anita Handjob.
Fix your sight.
Jamar. Alpha play chase.
Are you kidding me? Kadarius Toney?
You can't handle the heat.
Pete, it looks like we're finally piss boys. You're right.
All right. We got Gretch. We got Pat. How are we doing today, fellas?
Good. Pat's muted, so he's telling us how good he's doing, but none of us can hear him.
I was saying I was doing good, and I was running a little bit behind, but I got the cold brew finally. So it's not in me yet, which is why I'm talking on mute. But very soon I'll feel alive.
Lauren asked me the other day, because normally at some point in the summer we both kind of collectively look at each other and say, yeah, it's like cold brew season, like let's stop with the hot coffee in the morning. But like best ball breakfast has broken my brain in such a big way that I'm like, but then I have to deal with everyone not getting the regular coffee pour, and then the iced coffee pour doesn't hit as hard. So I was like, we do have to factor this into the equation.
Wait, why doesn't the iced coffee pour hit as hard for people? You get the ice clinking around. I feel like it'd be better.
The thing is, it's just like there's these people out there who come to expect the hot coffee pour, and then when it's not exactly the same, they get really upset. You guys know.
Yeah.
Anything that changes or is different is a problem. It doesn't matter if it's better; it's just different.
And I guess if you're the type of person who like really wants that coffee pour, like you're going to be a little bit. You're also the type of person who's going to notice it changing.
That's what that's how I would define boomers. Like just their entire existence is like, I don't care if it's better, it's different, and I don't want it to be different.
It is actually better, but it's because it's different, I'm out.
Well, it's funny you say that, because not to do too hard of a transition to the underdog stuff, but I feel like the Superflex contests for a while, I felt like the majority opinion was like, oh yeah, that's cool. But then when I actually get to drafting it, I'm like, I just don't like this quite as much. But this year, the fill rates and the hunger for the Superflex puppy, it seems like there's more enthusiasm for it in years past. Am I misreading that?
I think so.
I've had no enthusiasm for it this year. I haven't even thought about drafting one. And last year,
the Superflex puppy?
Yeah. Last year, I think I maxed it. So for me, I don't know why, but I'm just not feeling Superflex right now.
I was in Arizona when like it started. Well, I guess before it dropped, I wasn't there yet. But when I got there, and I was seeing my brother and family and doing stuff and golf 2 rounds in 48 hours. And he has 3 boys, and my cousin was there and has 3 boys and doing a bunch of wiffle ball and all sorts of stuff. I still got 4 fast drafts of the Superflex in, because I was like, I love this. I want to be in it. And then I entered more slows, and half the slows I entered were the Superflex one. Like, so I don't know. I would be the complete opposite end of the spectrum. Okay. Maybe it's because you maxed it last year, Pat. But for me, I was like, I'm not going to get another opportunity.
Well, I also maxed the puppy in the palm. So I'm just like, I just want these slows to end. I can't be.
Yeah, Pat,
you're in a ton of other slows.
Format issue. It might be you not having self-control when registering for.
Well, this is self-control, isn't it, Pete? I'm not doing it. I just said that.
Believe it or not, you could maybe do 25 of one of these and then 25 of these.
That's not how I'm wired.
Yeah, and the one thing that's fun about the Superflex too is those opening days. I saw some of the screenshots too of those opening ADPs. It did seem like there were some really nice things to exploit in that contest before the ADPs corrected. And if you have the stomach for late round quarterbacks, you can build some monster teams in there.
Yeah. No, I think that, this year too does set up, I think, very well for late round quarterback. Like compared to last year, I think in terms of like the job security stuff, it's much stronger. So like for the very last rounds, I guess we had some real big hits in kind of the Jordan Love range last year. But I think like the kind of the punt, like the true punts, like the cheapest quarterbacks in the pool, like Bo Nix, right? Like Bo Nix is a pretty awesome tournament play because he's going to be playing at the end of the season. Also, he's probably playing week 1 too. So the true punt plays before like Minshew, I guess, are definitely, I think, more appealing than last year for these types of tournaments.
For sure.
Yeah. Speaking of job security for quarterbacks, Pat, what is your confidence meter on Drake Maye? I feel like every day there's a new quote where they're like, Jacoby Brissett's our starter forever until the end of time.
It's going up. My confidence meter is going up. I don't know if you saw it. So he was behind Zappy, right? They did the full hardo, like this is the Belichick, fingerprints all over this team kind of thing. So he was the third team quarterback behind Bailey Zappy. They did that for like 2 days, and we're like, okay, this is stupid. So now he's the second team quarterback. They're complimenting his footwork. They say he's made big strides already there, which is one of the big things because they're putting him under center more. They're going to roll him out a lot more, do like play action stuff. He played a lot more shotgun in college. So they want to see the footwork improvement. That's a big deal. I don't think he starts week 1, and I don't care. I don't think he starts week 2, and I don't care. I think by the time we're talking about week 4, week 5, with like a winless Patriots team, they're going to have a hard time explaining why they're continuing to roll Jacoby Brissett out. So lowest win total in the league. It's just like the win total skyrocketed. Maybe that would make me nervous, but I just don't. How are they gonna sell this week 8?
Well, they sell it because Jacoby Brissett plays above average, and they have some new weapons, and they're actually closer to like a 500 team, and they
have to win games. They have to win games. Them winning games is how you
actually. I disagree with that. I don't think they have to win games. I have a lot of concern about Drake Maye right now. Okay, I have a completely different read on it. I was reading the Athletic article about him, about this naming Jacoby Brissett the starter thing yesterday, and they're just naming him the starter because it's May or June now,
right?
But that's not a huge concern or anything. But the stuff that we keep hearing is like in that article, it said he's the second youngest quarterback in the league. They keep talking about the Patriots know that he has a high ceiling. They also know he has a low floor. He needs development. And they keep talking about all this stuff. And why do we keep hearing all this crap from the team that drafted him? It's weird to me. But the other big one is they don't think they have the infrastructure in place for him to step in like Caleb Williams has all these good receivers and everything. They basically are like, our team is so shit that we don't want to throw him to the wolves as a really young prospect. And I kind of feel like they're laying the groundwork to do one of those redshirt rookie seasons and be like, yeah, we're just going to let Jacoby Brissett play the whole year. At least I'm getting, I don't think that's certain, but I'm getting concerned about it. I'm getting concerned that by week 8, the other way they would justify it is to say that this team's too bad to throw him to the wolves. And then they won't play him until like the last month of the year or something, which is dumb, but
yeah, I'm not concerned about that. That doesn't strike me as like the way these things tend to go. These franchises aren't franchises, they're people, and they all have their own incentives, and your incentives start to strongly tilt towards playing Drake Maye when you get to midseason and you're terrible, and Jacoby Brissett isn't, unless Jacoby Brissett is awesome. And I like Jacoby Brissett. I think he's a good quarterback, like a good, capable quarterback, but I don't think he's going to be awesome to overcome the situation to the point where we don't even want to see Drake Maye by midseason. That's where it reminds me of Andy Dalton when they were very clearly intent on playing him over Justin Fields. They did do that. He started the season. That is going to happen. I'm not like, my head's not in the sand on this. I don't think Drake Maye is the week 1 starter. He won't be the week 1 starter. I think we're going to get, 3-4 games out of Brissett. Maybe a little bit more than that. But I think by the end of the season, the team with the lowest win total in the league is turning to the number 3 overall pick.
For sure. I think and everything you said is true of most rookie QBs, that it does transition in season. My point is I still think you're right more often than you're not, I guess. My point is I'm getting concerned that they're laying the groundwork to then in week 8 be like, we've been telling you this since May. Right, this is a really young prospect, and it's not Jacoby Brissett. He's playing fine. Like, it's not Jacoby Brissett. Like, the quarterback's not going to solve. Like, that's, they get into the press conferences. They're like, quarterback's not our problem. Like, you keep asking this question, and it's like they put it off longer than we want them to put it off. for best ball teams.
The way I see in retrospect this being a lose, this was not only didn't work out, but was in fact a losing bet, is that this regime never wanted Maye, and it's Kraft. The Kraft basically made them take Maye, and that they're terrified of what Maye is going to get them all fired. I think that's, if it comes out that this is like Kraft, this is a Tepper situation and it's all Kraft, and they're like, we just, so, but that's where I'm encouraged to hear this stuff about the footwork, and he's, actually looking like he's going to be a good fit for this system, like we were hoping, and all that. That does make me encouraged, because I think the way we lose the bet is this coaching staff never wanted Maye, and they don't think he fits them.
Yeah. One thing that's kind of funny, or I guess like a paradox, right, to the point Ben was making about the team thinking they don't kind of have the receivers or the ammunition around him to like give him an environment to succeed. I mean, that applies to Jacoby Brissett too. Like, we know who Jacoby Brissett is. If Jacoby Brissett impresses, it's probably because one of these rookies is like balling out, or the offense is like has more weaponry than anyone anticipated. In which case it's like, all right, then let's see what Drake Maye with these guys.
Yeah.
But so that's what would be interesting. Like, it's hard to suss out like a situation where it's like Brissett is the one elevating the offense to success, and they're like, all right, we don't need Drake right now.
But also, if they're laying the groundwork for him not being ready, then both those scenarios are tricky to make the change. Like, they're kind of telling us they want to go with Brissett and they don't think he's ready. Because like, even if Brissett's not elevating, but the offense is doing well, they'll be like, we don't need to change. And if it's doing poorly, then they'll be like, see, look, it's such a bad situation. We don't want to change. We don't care about ruining Jacoby Brissett. He's our veteran bridge quarterback. I don't know. I mean, the bridge quarterbacks never stay long. Pat, you made a really good point there. Like, it feels that way in June, but it doesn't actually go in the season all year long. It's just all the comments right now. It's like they're like
expect that. The baseline is, because they are like everything you're saying, they are doing. They're setting us up for week 1, number 3 overall pick's not the starter. Like, don't come at us. He's like, but that's what they're doing. I don't think, though, I'm not reading it as week 9, week 10, don't come at us. It is, we've got a plan. The plan starts with Jacoby Brissett. Stop asking us if Drake Maye is the starter. He's not the starter.
So does this concern you at all? The multi-year, this is, I think, part of something I'm concerned about. The multi-year sentiment on whether you should play your rookie quarterbacks early, which 10 years ago, it was like, you don't play them. Then it was like, you have to play them. Why not play them? Play them, figure out what you have. They're in their rookie contract. But I think because the last couple classes of QB, we've had some guys play early and not do well. Like Justin Fields, for example, is no longer even on the Bears, right? Trey Lance is no longer on the 49ers. He didn't even play the first season. He's not a good example. Kenny Pickett is no longer on the Steelers.
He might actually be a counterexample to the Jordan.
He might be a counterexample. But Kenny Pickett's no longer in the Steelers. It feels like the sentiment's moving away a little bit, and it's part of why they're making some of these comments, because they're like, I think there are people in the league that still believe that sitting a quarterback makes them better at football. Like, that Patrick Mahomes is only good because he sat behind Alex Smith, right? Like, that's the dumbest fucking thing any of us has ever heard. But there's people that I think in 2024 are like, well, what about what happened with Justin Fields? What about that? What about maybe they played him too early? Maybe they ruined it.
What they didn't actually play him week 1. What if they played him week 1? He'd been awesome.
But once they played him, he was getting sacked. And Allen Robinson was bad.
It's almost like he can't avoid sacks.
I think from like, to actually drill this down to, being actionable for fantasy purposes, I think the risk you run with Drake Maye right now is essentially like you run into a double bye week at quarterback, right? Where if you are rolling him out in two QB builds and then he doesn't play until week 10, and you're basically taking a 0 for a week with quarterback. And we know that stuff lowers advance rate. I think that's what we're kind of discussing through here. Does he have to be in 3 quarterback builds? If you have him in 2 quarterback, you're probably going to start lowering your advance rate if he doesn't start until the end of the season.
Well, not if you have him with Allen or not, like if you get him with a later elite, by later, I mean elite quarterback with a later bye week. Yeah. That's those guys. I mean, he's perfect. He's perfect there. I mean, Allen, you're spending a 4th round pick or 3rd round pick on him. Like he's filling your quarterback spot basically every week. So you're really playing for late season upside.
we talked about this, I think, on a Best Ball Breakfast stream, is you have Lamar, you have Stroud, and Anthony Richardson on bye the same week. So that even with that pairing him with the elite gets more tricky because you remove 3 of those guys.
That's true. The other thing I would say, if I'm going to make the counter argument against May, it would be, okay, you're talking about this like whole thing. And then what if he's not even good? So like, okay, great. You bink like 9. He starts in like week 9. You've punted off half the season of starts. You do have him for the end of the season, but the offensive line's not good on the Patriots. They don't have good weapons. We're hoping these rookie wide receivers that we didn't love, didn't love, that they're good. Turns out they're not. Also, Drake Maye just isn't that good. Or you could just get Bo Nix for free, who's starting the whole season. So I think, like, to me, I'm trying to make that counter argument a little to myself to take some more Nix, because I think Nix is just going to start all year. And what if he's good? Like, it's cleaner. It's definitely cleaner. Like, I'm more confident in May, but
yeah. I was just talking about this on my stream a little bit ago, and when we went through some of my exposures for my first round of slows, and I've taken a lot of Nix. And this is really why. And I compared Nix to May and also JJ McCarthy. I didn't really dig into McCarthy much, but Nix is like, if you think about where the teams are at and what they're telling you, and like the Broncos have all this dead money from Russell Wilson, but Sean Payton is like the kind of coach where he's like very prideful, and he has this new quarterback that he thinks is the dude and fits his scheme, and is like, I'll take the underneath safe high percentage pass, which is what Sean Payton wants his quarterbacks to be doing. Zach Wilson isn't going to fit anything that Sean Payton wants to do. Maybe Jarrett Stidham could in some world, but like Bo Nix is going to start, and he's going to play the whole year. I mean, I'm really confident just based on where Denver is and with all the dead money and everything. Like they need to develop him this year to have something to point at for the future. And I just think it's different. Like, I don't know why it's so different in my mind. Like they don't have significantly better infrastructure around Bo Nix than the Patriots. I mean, they have some good players, but they don't have like a massive amount of like great players on offense.
It's like Peyton almost is like tying his legacy to if Bo Nix can work. Like he came in, he booted out Russell Wilson. He drafted Bo Nix early. By the way, did you hear he tricked the Vikings? He tricked them trading up.
Exactly. That's what it is. It's the cockiness. Like he's playing this dude.
He's playing him. He needs him to work. Like he needs this dude to work.
Even if he sucks, he's going to continue to play him because he needs him to work.
I love when players suck and they still get to put up points. Like what's better than that?
Man,
he's a really comfortable pick, and like correlates with the Bengals, who are like, we're all drafting Bengals. Like I got Chase Brown on every team. If I don't have Chase or Higgins, like
you also have this game. I talked about this on a podcast we recorded yesterday. It'll be up today with the rankings crew, and it makes, because Burrow's one of these guys. It's you and the T Higgins drafter, or you and the Chase drafter if you have Higgins, and you're just like staring down like who's taking Burrow, and if they're on the other side of the board. Now it's just like you versus like some unstacked Burrow drafter, and you can just bet that that person isn't in the room and get Burrow at a really nice price sometimes. Like you can get Burrow like 20 picks past ADP in the right setup. If that doesn't work out, and again, you only have one, you don't have the double. So it's just a single that you're getting. And then you can tack on Burton or whatever. But you push Burrow, he gets sniped. You're going to Nix, you can get like, and it's not as sexy, but I think like that makes me feel a little more comfortable with, I'm not, so what? I'm going to take Sutton where I would have took Burrow. And now I'm going to end up making this a Bo Nix backdoor with the Chase bringback.
My QB exposures are pretty spread out, but I have in my first 34 completed post draft non-eliminator or super flex, I have 17.6% Bo Nix. He's my second highest drafted quarterback.
Wow.
And then I have him in 3 of my 4 super flex fasts that I did as well.
What round is he going those?
I got him at pick 144 in one of them at the 12-13 turn out of the 101.
That's insane.
That's just incorrect.
That is regular.
No. He's usually going like 90 to 100, and I still think he's a smash in super flex at like
he's a smash there.
Pick 100. Yeah.
He's an absolute smash there.
That's where I got him in the other ones.
The 2v2s you're getting off that compared to guys going in the third must be nuts.
Yeah, I'm sure they are. So I got him in 103 at this one that I just pulled up.
Who went third round in that draft? Do you have the board?
Yeah, I just pulled it up. QBs were
quick. real quick as Gretch pulls this up, we need 3 more for this sprint draft. If you guys want to hop in here with us. Sorry, go ahead.
The QBs in the third are Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams, Brock Purdy, and Tua. I'm surprised Jaden Daniels went in the third. He usually doesn't. But Caleb Williams, Brock Purdy, Tua.
So,
and the
Tua versus Knicks, and then what are the?
You have JT, Saquon, and Achane. You have Olave, Nico, and Devontae Adams, Kyron Williams as the and then the Knicks stuff is.
So I've got Olave and Knicks right now, and you have Tua and.
At pick 103, right before him was Christian Watson. Right after him was Ramondre Stevenson, Zamir White, David Montgomery, Deontay Johnson.
I'm taking my Olave Knicks. Thank you.
Olave Knicks is pretty solid.
Wow,
it's wild, man. It's really wild.
Yeah,
that was the 103. The 144 was like I took him as my 5th quarterback. I was like, all right, fine.
Crazy.
You guys don't care about quarterbacks. We'll do a 5 QB build.
Yeah. Yeah, because I felt last year when I was doing those super flexes, like you could definitely get boxed out. Like it was very possible to get boxed out. But if you're getting Bo Nix after pick 100, it seems kind of hard to get boxed out.
It does.
Right. I took him at 108, 103, and 144. 144 is just so ridiculous.
If you took him 144 in a regular draft, I'd be like, "Whoa!" But I wouldn't be like, "Okay, this guy." Like,
you would think he was as mispriced as you think he is when it goes 144 in Superflex.
No, like I'd be like, "Oh, you know what? He's stacked the entire Denver offense. Didn't want to lose Bo Nix. I get it. I understand it."
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the other crazy thing is you make that pick and then you still have all of the Broncos wide receivers going after that too.
Right.
That's crazy.
He's super fun in Superflex because then you just grab Mims and Franklin, and I took Blake Watson in the last round because of 20-round drafts.
Spicy.
Yeah. It's fun.
All right, we're off to the races in a sprint draft. This is a total friends and family. I see our guy Nez, our guy Roto Run. We got Shady Advice in here. We got some Ship Chasers, Mark and Jake, and then a Reg and Crash Rich. So this will be a fun draft here. Have you guys done any sprint drafts yourselves yet?
Not yet.
I did not. Though. I got so excited about the Superflex and just being a lower price point. It's going to fill way earlier. So I was like, I'm going to push off the sprint stuff for my next trip because I don't think the Superflex is going to be open the next time I'm out of state.
I think it's 50% already.
Yeah, it was filling so fast, and the sprint's not really filling like crazy fast. So I'm going to hit this up later. But this is a fun format. Sacrilegious had a great article over at Legendary Upside about it, Pat.
Sorry, we're on the clock here, so let's make our pick, and then we'll talk this through. Puka, Breece Hall, AJ Brown, Garrett Wilson. It's basically like Breece or a receiver here.
I mean, I'm not going to.
I'm good. Anyone but AJ Brown. I would be, if you guys want to take Breece, that's fine. I would probably be Garrett Wilson actually straight up here, but
okay,
they're all fine.
We'll just do Breece and then get a wide receiver in the second. Yeah, I've done a few of these. I think the most interesting thing to me right now is because there are so few drafts that have been completed in this contest, only 522 entries. Do the math on how many drafts that is. The ADP is still kind of wonky, even though my thesis is like this ADP should be like near identical to Best Ball Mania. I think the differences are with like how you correlate. Like obviously you don't care about an individual bring back, but there are some pretty weird and big differences in ADP because it's technically a different player ID set, different IDs or ADP. So I think there's some, just like drafting this as you would a BBM team is actually kind of like the optimal way to do this right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
I love that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Like look at Josh Allen's ADP in this. He has an ADP of 20 for some reason. I assume someone took him like 101 in one of the drafts and it's just like pulled his ADP up. That's the only thing I can account for.
And Jalen Hurts is behind Mahomes.
Yeah.
That's weird.
There's weird stuff going on.
That's a great point. I mean, and that happens I feel like I noticed that in the Superflex a little bit too, where like the order is just different. I mean, obviously the quarterback, but like the positional order is different. And you're like, huh.
Yes. All right, we are on the clock here. We are looking at Devontae Adams, Mike Evans, Nico Collins, Nico, Devontae by ADP. Then there's Ayuk, Debo. You guys got a flavor here?
Those top two would be where I would be. I'd be fine either way.
Yeah, me too.
Pat. Okay,
probably.
I take a lot of Adams and a lot of Nico. I'm fine with it.
Okay, let's.
Yeah, I'm good either way too.
All right, Terrence, I might be getting farmed here, but I just got to push back to this. The sprint and eliminator are too complicated. Give me a simple marathon. I'm good. I do agree. The eliminator is like completely, reframing your stuff, but the sprint, it's just like drafted a puppy team, a BBM team. I don't think you need to think of it as a complicated format. And again,
the sprint, the only thing is, I think if you want to think of like where you can find an edge is everyone knows the week 17 matchups, but don't know the 15 and 16 matchups as well. And they're a part of the final round. So maybe you should lean into like trying to stack up game stacks in week 15 and 16 more than week 17 to get a little unique or something. That's like the only thing that I can even really make a strong case for. I think the other thing I do like, as soon as we made the Brees pick, I like said it in my head a little bit. I was like, well, with a 3-week sprint, a legendary running back is like, we've seen that in like the main event. Like a legendary running back can separate over 3 weeks in a pretty huge way.
That's what I'm trying to think through is that it's like you need those. So over the course of 3 weeks, you're going to need the massive spike weeks. So like I would say you'd want to maybe discount anything like replaceable even more and boost up what is not replaceable. So elite quarterback is probably more valuable. Elite tight end, which shout out to Pete's video that he just had out on the Deposit Kingdom, which is awesome on elite tight end. I think this might be the ultimate elite tight end format because like in 2021, when Mark Andrews was the guy you needed to get to week 17, you didn't need him to win week 17. You probably need him to win a 3-week in 2021.
Oh,
right?
100%.
Yeah.
You probably you needed, I had Kittle on my BBM 3 team. I think if it was a sprint, you definitely have Kittle because he had 2 weeks, week 15 and 16, big weeks. So I think that's where you're not getting away from that guy.
Madison's article made the point about how even the years where the elite tight end spike week was in 15 or 16, that it still meant like a really strong finish in week 17. Like your advance rate was high, but also it was like outsized positive impact on even the week 17 finish, which I can't remember the exact logic.
Laporta's the best example of that. And just for a second, separate that he was a late round pick, but he went nuclear in 15 and absolutely dudded in week 16, 3.3 points. Still the 3rd highest player in the BBM finals.
He was on 4 of 5 top 5 teams in the week 17 final. 4 of 5 had Sam
despite doing jack shit for you in the second most important week of the contest.
Which
so to your point about the sprint
team, he just didn't use him in the final. But 3 of the 5 teams used Laporta's score in week 17.
That's wild.
Begs the question.
And then to your point about the sprint, the week 15 points actually matter for it. It doesn't even in that format, the week 15 spike week was that outsized, but certainly in this format it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. You can't, they don't get wiped clean. So you don't start over. So it's like, dude, if the tight end goes nuclear for 2 weeks, you almost have to have him.
Yeah, this could, again, like, I don't know why Laporta is dropping in this format. I'm fine taking Laporta at 3.8.
I think we take Cup.
Do Cup,
right? And because the receivers are already picked over, and then we could get Laporta or Kelsey maybe.
Yeah, I don't mind
Zay. Or Zay is fine. I didn't even see Zay because of the ADP.
Well, how much do you like the? It's the 2v2 of like the tight end in these rounds.
We could grab the tight end. We could grab him. I didn't realize.
We can grab one in the next round too.
Okay, yeah, we can sit on Laporta.
The ADP messed with me. I didn't even see Zay.
I do think you run the risk of having George Pickens be the best available receiver in that next pick, but probably the tight end. When you said the 2v2, that's why I was like, oh, sometimes at 405, you're like, shit, the wide receiver's bad. It probably won't be that bad, but there's a little bit of a tier break that hits here. And Tank was already off the board.
Yeah. The
Laporta Kelsey at the turn isn't going to help our cause.
Well, that's not how I would play this. No. You need to have found, it's like Laporta, he went nuts. Oh, and Kelsey also went nuts? I guess it's possible, but I don't know. It's about filling the low scoring points with an insane amount of points. The flex will have a ton of points in it. right?
you
Like
do that,
the flex
you
is not.
That's the correlated pick. When we went Zay over Cup at the last minute, I saw we already had that correlated, but the Cup drafter just took McBride.
So
'Cause
this
that's-
is basically
damn it.
T or grab Kincaid Andrews. I have no problem still getting the elite tight end here early.
I'm fine with Kincaid or Andrews.
Gretsch,
I would vote Kincaid.
Yeah, I've been trying to get more Kincaid lately. He's my blind spot in my elite tight end portfolio. That's just like happened accidentally. For a while, it was Liam's fault. I was just punishing him for
Kincaid was underpriced by about 5 picks because of Liam. Because there's a bunch of sharp people who are like, no, Kincaid can't be the answer. And I was like, he actually could.
And then when I was making the video, I was looking and I was like, I have like 30% Andrews and like 4% Kincaid. What is going on here?
You hate Liam.
Liam, I mean, it's kind of genius, He keeps the price down. He tilts everyone so the price stays low on his favorite guy.
The way that 2v2 worked out, we did get Higgins, but Pickens went ahead.
Yeah.
And 3 tight ends went in those 8 picks, which is like, I mean, it could have easily been McBride. I think at that point we would have preferred to have taken Laporta because then we would have preferred to have had Higgins. But Higgins may have went if Laporta wasn't.
Right. Yeah. Maybe Higgins goes. I definitely prefer Flowers Kincaid to like
Laporta some of the other outs.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I love the irony for me is this is the most week 17 correlating I've done in basically any draft. And I did it in a sprint draft where we got Brees with Kincaid 17 and Nico with Zay week 17.
That's right. We are so stacked up for week 17. Our comeback is going to be epic. We're going to be in like 50th and then we're going to week 17.
Yeah. Like going back to this format, I do think because elite tight ends separate from the position more than elite quarterbacks. Like if I was deciding on which elite onesie I wanted to prioritize in this format, I think it definitely would be elite tight end.
For sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think because Hayden's done stuff where like quarterback spike weeks do separate a little bit more. My thing is it's just especially with some of the upside available at quarterback late, I think the chances of finding a quarterback spike week without paying for it is better.
Higher.
So and a 3 QB build gives you more shots at it as well, right?
That's a good point. Yeah.
Well, and that's what
like that one year it was like Kirk Cousins, and then another like when he was still in Washington, him and Jordan Reed had just an epic run, and then another year it was Russell Wilson and Doug Baldwin when he was a late round younger quarterback. Remember, like it can be these like
Golf was going off last year. Like
it could be Drake Maye in his first start of the year.
Not that okay. I guess I'm drafting more Drake Maye. That's all I need.
I mean, I think it was the same thing for BBM, and I think for the sprint too. Like if you do go the 3 quarterback route, having them all stacked up is like what you want. That's what gives you the chance to capture that one unicorn game environment over that 3-week span.
Now, one thing we have going here is all 3 of our current receiving weapons, 2 of their QBs have already been drafted. Stroud is the other one. So we might want to think through some late round stackouts.
Yeah.
Quarterback or wide receivers just getting.
Yeah, wide receivers are getting pummeled. I mean, we're all like 6th round wide receivers here.
Xavier Worthy was still there. I would maybe put Worthy or tight end.
Again, that was a blind spot I had because of the slight differences of ADP.
Worthy's the last of a tier there.
Worthy's good. Also plays Houston in week 16.
That's right.
That's nice.
I have a big bag of Worthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. He's looking fun.
We're all Davis Maddox.
I was initially like pridefully mad when he passed Roma Dunze. I was like, God damn it. And then I was like, yeah, he needs to be out of Roma Dunze.
You guys want to see a funny story in 3 parts? Benjamin in the chat from 3:33 p.m. Eastern. Pitts over those tight ends all day, 76% in 100 BBM drafts. Then goes Pitts all day when we're on the clock and select Xavier Worthy. And then says, yikes. That's our second. That, my friend, is what we call bag defending.
But I don't know. I mean, like, I think okay, so I've made the case this is a great format for elite tight end. Is this a potentially really bad format for bully tight end?
I think so.
Like
Well-
we made the guy. You're getting 2 spike week. I'm betting on 2 spike weeks out of the 1 elite tight end. If I'm going bully, I'm almost overly focused on tight end.
If you're
You know?
taking on,
Man,
because
so
that's
many tight ends back there.
James Cook at these prices is pretty nice.
I
Wide
would take
receiver
Cook.
got pretty wiped out unless you want to do like one of the rookies.
JSN's going way higher in this format too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do Cook if you guys want to do that.
Or do you want to
I'm
stack
cool with
up
whatever.
Nico Wizette or CJ Stroud?
You could do Stroud here.
Oh, let's
It's
do
a pretty
Stroud.
good price in the
I'll just
6th
do
round.
Stroud.
Yeah, we were just talking about 3 QB builds, but it's a nice price in the 6th round. And we have 2 bringbacks, week 16 and 17. Like
True.
we're playing Houston.
All right. Get ready to learn Josh.
Man, this different ADP is really throwing me.
I'm in on Josh for Palmer.
I am
That is receiver
too.
3.
God, you have one kid, and then you're like, Josh Palmer is actually pretty underpriced.
That's great.
So this
Who does
is
Houston play? Miami in weeks 15?
Yes. Miami at KC, home versus Baltimore. So they get the 2 dome games and their 1 away game potential shootout with KC.
So Miami's already kind of picked through. But yeah, I mean, the stacking up Houston in a big way and saying Stroud goes nuclear for 3 weeks is fun. I'm here for that.
Yeah. Plus,
Like with Stroud. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just laughing. Can you make it so we can see the pick clock? You're freaking me out here, stalling for so long. I'm the only one that needs to be concerned about getting the pick at a time. You rest or worry not. I got you.
Well,
covered.
sometimes I'm like, how long do I have to make the case?
Yeah, I also freak out a little.
I will tell you. I will say when we're on the clock and how much time we have.
The thing with
what
Stroud,
were you saying?
like Stroud does have a single week ceiling, I think, with these receivers and what we saw last year. Like where he can go nuclear like once and then like good twice and we're good. You know what I mean? Like because the weeks carry along, like that's kind of what I mean. Like if a quarterback goes absolutely nuts once in this 3 weeks, like I don't want to say you're gonna need him, but like it's a big deal. It's a really big deal.
And the bull case is for him is he's obviously a drop back passer. It's with all drop back passers, you're spiking TD rate and you're spiking passing volume, and they're playing Miami, Kansas City, and Baltimore. It could be 3 like legit shootouts. If you told me he throws 8 touchdowns in those 3 games, if you told me he throws 10 touchdowns in those 3 games, he has a 4 TD game and 2 3 TD games because he's trailing and they're high scoring. Like I'm not surprised. Like that's the CJ Stroud kind of, and they have a week 14 bye. Like he's coming out of the bye, needing to make the playoffs.
I love
with
this
that
narrative.
gauntlet. Yeah, like he's thrown 12 touchdowns in those 3 games.
Post bye week Stroud in week 15. You guys are we got it. We already got it.
This is the best thing about fantasy football is making a pick that maybe you don't otherwise normally make, and then just like painting the absolute ceiling, best case scenario for that pick. It's so fun.
I mean, I don't know how you can't have CJ Stroud in every sprint draft. I mean, it's like you have to have him in every single one.
Best Ball Mania, week 15 doesn't matter. So I never take Stroud.
We're on the clock. We have 26 picks.
Oh my God, wide receivers. Dust. Rasheed Rice just went.
Yeah,
I'm
Rashee
open
Rice
here.
was. What did you say?
I said I'm open. Whatever you
You
guys
could say
like.
Jonathan Brooks. He pairs
Brooks
nicely
is
with
fun.
Brees.
Yeah.
I think I'm cool with that, and then we're gonna have to catch up.
I kind of just refuse
like
to let
that
the room in this. Like we're gonna take a receiver of similar quality with our next pick. I hate when the room is like, all right, it's time to take Mike Williams in the 7th. I'm like, no, I'm willing to burn this team to the fucking ground.
Wow.
You cannot make me take Mike Williams.
I'm ready to burn this team to the fucking ground.
I mean, this team's not dead. We have like Jonathan Brooks comes back and gets a lot of work late is a very nice narrative. And you have now 2 really good running backs. You have an elite quarterback and you have an elite tight end. Like, and we're just really worried that we only have 3 receivers. We have 3, right? Or these are third already.
We
Yeah.
do. Yeah.
Yeah,
3
we do.
receivers. That's all you need.
I mean, our starting lineup is so good, guys.
I mean, we're out of structure, right? But like to stay in structure, we had to do something that absolutely sucks. So
Brooks was a great call. I
let's do it.
love him. And,
He's a great pairing with Brees.
with Brees, yeah.
And Pat saying Brooks over Jalen Warren is a real moment of personal growth.
Honestly, I couldn't see Warren on the board because of the ADP.
We are about to be on the clock. Jameson, Cortland Sutton, we are on the clock. Lockett
seems pretty good.
Yeah.
For some reason, Dobbs has a higher ADP than Lockett in this format.
No, I think Lockett.
That doesn't make any sense.
Gretch, do you see anything else here?
No, Lockett would be my pick if I.
Or we
Yeah.
could go
If you guys
Samuel
want-
with the Bills thing. I think he's also viable.
He's in that range. I kind of think Lockett's a half tier up on him.
Let's do Lockett and see.
Sean got in my ear a little bit about Samuel on Stealing Bananas yesterday. We were recording. It'll be on the next.
Oh, what do you say? I've been like,
basically just like
He
that.
was
He's
the
kind of been a
Samuel
role
Bowl
player,
last
and
year.
he's not like that good necessarily, you know. And then I like went into how some like if you go look at his seasons, his targets per out run has actually been pretty solid for multiple seasons. That's why I think he could step into the target like vacuum there, right? Like if you actually look at his seasons, 4 of his last 5 years, and the 5th one he was injured right away. He ran like 35 routes. He has between 90 and 105 targets in all 4 of the years. So he's been like a consistent 90 plus target guy. He's never been 120 targets or anything, but he does earn some volume. He's not like, and some of that's like gimmies underneath. I know low ADOT, but his point was like a lot of it is pretty manufactured. I think I maybe got him a little bit more interested in Curtis Samuel and talking through that, but basically like we talked through the Seahawks quite a bit, and we were comparing him to Lockett, and he was making a good case on Lockett too. We're like, I mean, Lockett's always been really good, right?
Yeah,
I mean, Pete, you had it in the
good.
You guys have all had him ranked higher than ADP. He's older, but if this offense is good, if Ryan Grubb's a good coordinator, if Geno Smith is still solid, I mean, there's no reason there should be this big of a gap between Lockett and DK,
No,
other than age.
Right.
it's
He
kind
did
of like
fall off a little last year, but it wasn't a disaster.
Yeah. So,
Samuel, some of the stuff last year, like he was worse than Dotson in open score, and there's like some stuff. I remembered him being better, and I think it's because like he's always like been so underpriced. You know, you get him in like the 15th round or whatever. I don't know. I'm kind of where Sean is, I think.
Yeah, so our team so far, we got the CJ Stroud, Nico Collins stack. We got Brees Hall and Brooks at running back. Along with Nico, we got Xavier Worthy, and Lockett at wide receiver, Dalton Kincaid at tight end, about to pick here in the 9th round at pick 104.
Can you click on the wide receivers real quick?
Yeah.
I know. Oh,
So Dobbs, Shaheed, Shakir, Jacoby, Jeudy, Downs by ADP. And then
it's gross.
it's pretty
Not
gross.
great. What's tight end look like?
Yeah, tight end, Bowers is off, so you're looking at Njoku,
Yeah.
Goddard. We could sit on Schultz for that
Schultz.
double stack.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're on the
I don't
clock.
mind- Yeah, we're on the clock. Dobbs and Shakir. Dobbs is like the ADP guy. Shakir would be just with Kincaid, basically.
What about the running back? I saw Connor.
I would be
Connor's
Javonte
great.
Williams, I think.
Javonte Williams would be my pick too.
Yeah, we
Or
can do-
Mostert would be fine.
Yeah, Mostert's a good pick too. Because of Jonathan Brooks, I think. I mean, you're playing. Yeah,
Yeah. Let's go
he fits.
Mostert.
we'll do Mostert here.
Oh, Mostert's a great bring back on the Houston stuff for Week 15.
Oh,
We
you're
do
right.
have a nice little thing.
Out of the bye.
Look at this.
I know you were like, yeah, it's picked over, and I was like, yeah, it is. And in my head, I was like, oh, Jonnu late, and I had completely forgotten about it.
I was doing that too. Jonnu, like Malik Washington, Raheem Mostert.
Love it.
Come on down.
Mostert makes sense.
Nice.
But then we'll probably need to grab another wide receiver here at 113.
I agree. But it's kind of that we're doing it again. The 7-8, we grabbed Brooks and then Lockett. Grabbed like the end of that tier as opposed to
Right.
kind of the middle.
There's a
of this
couple
year.
other guys further down. Joshua Palmer, I know you're kidding, but like I think is in the same tier as Romeo Doubs easily, and Jerry Jeudy a little ways down too is just sort of underpriced. We ended up talking about him on Bananas yesterday too. He got like 40 million guaranteed. Ended up pulling up his contract and stuff. Like people are just out on Jeudy because they're annoyed at Jeudy, but he should be inside the wide receiver window. He got traded for and then extended. He's like a good player.
He's a good pick. He's not a fun pick. I understand it. Sacrilegious tells me every day that he quits on routes and doesn't play football and doesn't want to play football anymore.
Is that how all your conversations start?
Literally, I'm like, what's up, man? He's like, Jerry Jeudy quits on routes. I'm like, all right.
That's not a good player.
Cool, man.
But even Sacrilegious says he's an okay pick. Like I've always been behind on Jeudy and not really a fan of Judy's, and I'm overweight on him. I went and looked, and I was like, yeah, I mean, I've been clicking him too, and I don't even like him.
No,
you guys.
Oh, you did say he's an okay pick. Wow, look at that.
Do you want Jeudy, Downs, or Palmer, or you can say Ball with Dontavian Wicks?
I probably would take Palmer ahead of.
Yeah, I'm fine with either Palmer or Jeudy. Do either correlate? Oh, Jeudy has both Kansas City and Miami.
I'm down to break tie there.
All right. Suck on that, Zach.
Suck on that. This team got no dog.
Jerry Jeudy for a 3-week sprint where we can't even wipe away his completely.
So we got a Jeudy Mostert and a Jeudy Worthy mini out of that.
Yeah. Also, Pat, would the pause in the sentence "suck on that sack" definitely helps. Otherwise, it's just "suck on that sack."
That's where when you explain the comma, when you need a comma and you don't, suck on that sack, suck on that comma sack.
Yeah. I prefer to say it with a hard emphasis on the that. Suck on that sack.
Suck on that sack.
Suck on that sack.
Yeah, it's important to use commas.
We're real mature.
Jeudy also gives us. I mean, Palmer would have given us a chance to go to Herbert, but I don't think we'd go. Like Watson goes a little later. We could go there. I'm trying to think of what we're going to do at QB2.
Well, Palmer was the pick for the inevitable Justin Herbert auto pick. Right. Then it's
that's
yeah.
I was thinking about Herbert when I said Palmer.
Yeah,
Herbert is a fun pick. He's a
Pat was thinking about Drake Maye when he said Herbert.
I was actually thinking about Herbert, but getting sniped on Herbert and then going, I guess I'll just take Drake Maye again is definitely part of my process.
The Watson thing. I mean, not to like hammer it, but because we have bringbacks on 2 of the 3 games, like having a little Cleveland passing stack.
Yeah, I know.
Nobody wants to draft Watson ever. We all have to talk about the fun things we've done with our daughters after. That's the rule every time we draft Watson. My daughter got the flute solo, and I went to her band concert Tuesday night. She had the solo in their end-of-year concert, and then she introduced another song, and she did really well with the public speaking in like a big concert hall up by the high school. It was cool. It was fun.
Nice.
They did a blind audition.
I guess that's
they did a blind audition, and she won. Her classmates voted her.
Hell yeah.
The flute solo. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Proud of her. That was really cool. She really wanted it, and she did it.
Love it.
There's my pass for the day. No, I can talk about Sean Watson.
Nice about
I'm like, shit, is Ben gonna pitch Watson in the 11th? Like, what is this?
I'm getting ahead of the game, Pat. I don't like talking about him. He's not a fun
That was such a great
guy.
story. I'm like nervous we're reaching 20 picks for Watson.
We're about to be on the clock here. Schultz is at ADP. If we want to do the double, Chase Brown and Eckler are the top running backs on the board. I think I'm pro Schultz with the Stroud.
Yep.
And Chase Brown goes. So
okay, that would have been the one tease.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's take Schultz.
Stroud, I feel like if we're gonna make the plunge on him, like I love getting that double.
You want him doubled. I think you definitely want him doubled.
Beautiful. We have a bring back in all 3 of his games. This is how you draft a sprint, guys.
Take notes.
Just shut down the sprint. It's over.
Yeah. Now let's keep saying nice things about our daughters before our inevitable Deshaun Watson pick.
Oh man.
Sack chasing to flute chasing. We have range around here.
That's right.
All right, here's the team so far. 1-3-5-2. Like we said, double stack with CJ Stroud, Nico, and Dalton Schultz. We got the double Dalton tight end strategy as well. Highly underrated. Dalton Schultz. 3 running backs, Breece Hall, Jonathan Brooks, and Raheem Mostert. And the other receivers, Zay Flowers, Xavier Worthy, Tyler Lockett, and Jerry Jeudy.
We need a receiver. Jermaine Burton plays the Browns in week 16.
Okay, I like this. I mean, we're coming up on the kind of rookie wide receiver run
right
in rounds 12 and 13.
Pearsall and Leggett just went.
Yeah.
They both would be in the mix there.
What's
wide receiver look like?
Yeah, so Cooks is kicking around. Darnell Mooney. I would honestly float Polk here. We get the Buffalo.
Yeah, I like Polk.
I
think Polk's my highest drafted receiver. I'm drafting the hell out of him.
Unless
really,
yeah, he's
I haven't really drafted him at all. Wow,
yeah,
you're drafting the Husky guy. I'm not even drafting him.
I think this is definitely receiver. Gretch, in this build, do you prefer Burton to Polk?
I'm
okay with
probably
either.
break the tie that way. Also, we have 2 week 14 buys already, but I don't know if you guys care that much about it. We don't have week 12 wide receiver. Yeah, our top 2 are both the same buy as Polk.
I think that's
let's do Burton.
I think that's fine. What's
yeah,
that?
we could do Polk. I have no issue with Polk. If you guys like Polk, take Polk.
All right, I did Polk.
Yeah,
So
I don't think the buy thing's that big of a deal. It was just a minor.
Yeah.
Footnote.
My thing with Polk is it's kind of like a version of the Drake Maye bet where you don't have to like when he starts, you know. Brissett's doing well enough to power the offense. Great. Polk's
he's your highest drafted receiver. I got to start drafting Ja'Lynn Polk. Good Lord.
Yeah, I mean,
I can't like not be on the Husky receiver that's your highest drafted receiver. Jesus.
Wide open depth chart, draft capital. Everything about this guy's profile is like he can play. He can play. He can bring in catches, you know, over the middle. He's like a gritty, like fights for the ball, great hands, brings in contested catches type of dude.
Yep.
And you know, what's his ultimate ceiling? But this is like the kind of guy that I've like missed on in Dynasty repeatedly because I'm like, he'll never be like the 103. It's like, okay, but he's like a 3rd round because he landed in a good situation and he's good. You know, now he's like going in a 3rd round of redraft, and that's a huge win. Yeah, it could be Michael Pittman. Yeah. So like, if he's Michael Pittman with this price, and Drake Maye's good, he's a fucking smash. So I'm just like, I'm refusing to let like my questions about like the very kind of 95th percentile, 98th percentile outcomes, like I'm refusing to let that make me not take him at a cheap price for, you know, what the 75th percentile looks like.
That's a good take. The thing that sticks in my head is there are some games where he disappeared, where they were like big games, and he was like really quiet. And he, like, if you look at his targets per out run, the target earning profile, like everything you just said about is like a contested catch and like the after the catch and the efficiency is there. But I just don't know if he even earns volume well enough, and that's the concern that I ultimately like has kept me off of him a little bit. But I think it was a good take. I think I need to get some more Polk in my life.
Yeah, I mean, like if he wasn't the wide open depth chart, I think I'd be a lot more concerned. You know, like can he earn targets next to, like if he was on the Bengals, like is he even going to be able to earn targets with Higgins and Chase there? Like, damn, I don't know. It's like, okay,
yeah, because I've taken a decent amount of Javon. Right, I've taken a decent amount of Javon Baker, and I think I'm just doing the thing where I'm like, well, I mean, I don't really know who's better, so I'll just take the cheaper one. But also, like the Patriots drafted the other one higher. This is kind of similar to when the Bills drafted Gabe Davis and Isaiah Hodgins, and you were on Davis, and I liked Hodgins' profile more, and I was just taking Hodgins a ton that year. And then like Hodgins ended up getting cut, and Gabe Davis ended up being the guy that actually played, and they drafted him higher. Like they told you that they wanted Gabe Davis more, you know, like it's the same thing. Yeah,
and I'm drafting a shitload of Javon Baker too. There's not you can draft both. Yeah, I think, you know, the Patriots and the Broncos are kind of the two most obvious. Like this offense could all hit together in a correlated way where we're like, yep, 3 pieces were really underpriced, like really underpriced. and all you did was go, this team good, and you had a massive win. It's just like those are the two to me.
That's what Houston was last year. If you played Stroud, Nico, Tank Dell, they were all
the Jags the year before that.
Yeah. So I'm grabbing like it in most drafts. I'm like, all right, give me like 3 of these guys,
Yeah.
or even more.
I don't have enough of that. Because I'm been so worried about May. I haven't drafted a lot of him either. I've taken some Baker for sure. But yeah, I want to get more New England in my life now. That's a good take.
All right. We are on the clock here. This could be a running back pick if we wanted to do a Cleveland, like a 4. There's Jalen Wright. There's Gibson.
Yeah. Right. We have Mostert. Would you guys take Wright with Mostert? Wright would be my running back.
I don't mind it.
I don't mind it
either. Yeah. I mean, I don't either. They scored the Achane and Mostert had 32 combined touchdowns last year. Like they both scored 4 touchdowns in the same game at one point. If Achane misses time and that's Wright and Mostert somehow, they can both score at the same time.
Yeah. These comments are funny because like the whole point of the examples is like the undervalued offenses are all the low ones. What was the Texans win total headed?
They were very low.
The whole point is they're cheap because they're not expected to be good.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, hey, John, like, do you think anyone else knows the win total? Like, yeah, we all know the fucking win total. That's why they go in the last round. It's like, I'm not taking them in the 3rd round, John.
You think anyone else knows the win total? Yeah, we all know the fucking win total.
I mean, I would love to just take Chiefs and 49ers players my entire draft. But
Houston's was 6.5 last year, and it was bet to the under. it had juice on the under on that one.
All right, we are
John
back up.
We love you, John.
What do you guys think of Ray Davis here with this Buffalo squad?
I like that. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
And Deshaun Watson went, so we could probably.
Is there any other rookie like Vidal went? I guess. Yeah.
No, Vidal is there.
Oh.
I like Davis. Vidal scares me. The more I think about Vidal, I'm like,
I know he's a little scary.
I'm hearing it too much. Like Isaiah Spiller caught a swing pass from Herbert today. I'm like, Isaiah Spiller. Like I don't want to hear his name at all.
I know. I'm like, I literally had a moment where I was like, should I be drafting some Isaiah Spiller? I mean, like I do think we have to be in on the Chargers rushing attack somehow, and I'm very comfortable fading Gus Edwards and trying to play it cheaply. I've drafted more J.K. Dobbins than I should, but a lot of Vidal too. And now I'm thinking about Isaiah Spiller. It's gross.
Yeah, I think I'm getting to the point where I want to hear. I haven't heard like any like Vidal's making noise. Like I haven't heard that once. I'd like to hear it.
Agent is in Davis's mention, so that's a good sign.
Oh, really?
Did you miss this?
No, I missed it.
Well, keep talking. I'll pull this up because it was very
okay.
We probably should have taken Watson at in the 13th, huh? He went. Oh well.
Well.
Yeah, he went. So we're kind of on.
We could take someone who hasn't sexually assaulted
Drake Maye.
23 women.
Yeah.
Do we have any other outs for quarterbacks here? Anyone else? Are you set yourself up?
No, I don't think so. Jacoby Brissett.
So Davis fired this tweet off. Oh shit, you can't see it. Let me go to the sideboard here. And get rid of this for a second. So Davis fired off this tweet. Definitely a non-zero chance that underdog RB50 Kimani Vidal never plays an NFL down.
That's such a Davis tweet. Oh my God.
This is the guy whose agent for Dylan Laube and Vidal says 0.01% at most.
Oh my God. This
what a
happened.
Great response. We love Kimani Vidal here at Davis Medic Industries.
That's the agent that he already had talked to, right?
Yes, that got him the Dylan
Davis
podcast.
Oh God!
Oh man, he burned whatever bridge he wanted it. As far as Kimani coming on the show.
Why?
So good.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I get very spooked by Vidal as well. At least his ADP's chilled a little bit though. From the initial rocket up.
Yeah. And I think he's fine. Like, I think he's an okay pick, but it's risky. It's like really risky. Like,
that's so
total zero.
All the running.
I know, but like Ray Davis, I think is a pretty safe bet. Not maybe super safe, but he has a clear path and the draft capital and like
what's
the
so risky
profile
about
to be the RB2 there.
I hear you on Davis. I agree with that. But what's so risky about Vidal?
That he was a 6th round pick, not a great prospect profile, and he literally just might be like a practice squad guy.
So really, the 6th round capital, I mean, is the big.
So yeah, his 6th round capital and not a prospect profile I was particularly excited about. You know, he's not like before the draft. I was like, yeah, he exists. You know,
Sean was talking about before the draft. JJ was on our stream.
JJ was
before
on
the
him.
draft.
Yeah,
both those guys were on him. So that's
yeah.
I'm
he didn't
interested
pop
hear
to
you
me
say
though. He didn't pop to me, but I get he had some stuff that was interesting and
yeah,
he was definitely on my radar to an extent, but he wasn't a target for me pre-draft.
So real quick on the quarterback stuff, Geno comes off the board. Just
Yeah.
if we do the Drake Maye thing, we do have a double bye week in 14, so we might want to build out a third stack here. We are on the clock now.
we don't have. Oh, we could do Rodgers with.
We could do
Brees
Rodgers.
Hall.
Oh
Yeah, let's do that. Because we also could tack on
We
another
could grab
tight end as well.
We could
Yeah.
grab Conklin. Yep.
Yeah, I think that's the move.
Rodgers is better than those other QBs.
I made just a throwaway joke in my tight end video that posted today about how like you don't want to show up to the BBM finals and be the guy with like Conklin versus Trey McBride, regardless of how much ayahuasca Conklin has done with Aaron Rodgers. And some guy is like really trying to sell me hard earnestly on doing ayahuasca, like in the comment section. He's like, it's a transformational experience. He's like I do like better shows and like you would be impressed with your content. Like I was like, okay, buddy.
Pete, could you imagine going to like some like ancient ayahuasca ceremony and they're like, what are you like, what are your goals, like what are you trying to get out of this? You're like, I'm really trying to like up the quality of my YouTube content.
So it's like trying to get over crippling depression. I'm like, I'm trying to get more subscribers.
I kind of stalled out on my subs. The like to sub ratio is a little low.
I'm sure I'd be thinking about that as I'm like puking up after I had my ayahuasca tea. Okay. We're on the clock, guys. Javon Baker, do you want to just double that
Sure.
up?
Yeah.
Even with
Yeah, because
Conklin
we're going to
go?
throw May onto this, right? Can we get
Conklin
May
going?
later?
Yeah. The other thing is do we want to just get? I guess Conklin has.
I lean on just getting Conklin and not dicking around, but
We don't need the third tight end yet. That's just
We don't.
bonus. We
That's
need
true.
more wide receivers. We're only at 6.
Brees Hall got
Okay,
like
okay,
90
let's do
targets
Baker.
last year. Yeah.
yeah, that's true.
Brees Hall's going to catch. Dude, Aaron Jones caught so many touchdowns from Rodgers. Brees Hall's going to be catching TDs in the sprint. That's happening.
That's the thesis.
Oh baby.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a great comment. The only darkness retreats is ruined by big lights. Well done, John. Take him out.
That's good. John with the comment of the stream.
Very good.
I mean, let's see. Can I make this promise? If Aaron Rodgers single-handedly wins you the sprint, you need to do a live stream doing ayahuasca, 100,000 split 3 ways, 33K. I don't know if I can sell my wife on dealing with me on an ayahuasca trip in my basement. I would do like going somewhere to do one. I don't want to do ayahuasca on stream though. That doesn't sound like a good time. I need to be
It really
does
doesn't.
a darkness retreat with the other content creators. No, I mean, Lauren had to deal with me. It was way back. It was when Mans launched his NFT and
Man's lost his NFT.
and he got hella crossfaded on a stream.
I remember I was on that stream for a minute.
Lauren was not
like,
too
I didn't
happy
marry
with
Mans.
that night. She was not happy with it. I made her drive me to McDonald's.
Of course.
That's amazing.
All right, so we have 2 more picks. We technically don't need to we're good on the bye week front now that we got at quarterback and tight end.
And did Conklin go?
Conklin went
Yeah,
naturally.
okay. Whatever.
Yeah,
We're fine.
sorry.
No, you guys are right. Structurally, we didn't need it. So,
How many running backs and receivers do we have?
So we're at 5 running backs: Brees Hall, Brooks, Mostert, Jalen Wright, Ray Davis. I feel pretty good about that 5.
Slayton is a good fit for this team. I know you hate it, but
God,
we got rookies. He makes sense.
I mean, Jalen Hyatt's an even better fit by that logic.
I mean, no, it's
DJ Chark is
bet on early season production.
Chark is the God. Chark goes. Kretsch, are you break this tie? Are you Slayton or Hyatt?
I don't draft either of them. I can't. I literally draft neither of them. I'd probably take Rondell Moore.
Chris just said no. He's Slayton or Hyatt. No.
It's my league neighbors.
What about Greg Dortch? Can we all agree on a little? Rondell Moore's fine too.
Moore's the one that I end up taking. Dortch is not gonna. I don't think he's gonna play enough with Zay Jones there. I think that's.
We could do
Michael
Rondell
Wilson,
Moore.
Zay Jones, and Marvin Harrison, and Greg Dortch is a slot receiver, and Trey McBride.
Didn't you hear if he was 6'5", he'd be Megatron? Is what Kyler Murray said about Greg Dortch.
I think he's like, I don't know. So like, he probably runs 65% of the routes, so it's not like out there all the time. But he's just like he has a role. He's like that classic undersized slot receiver.
That's basically what I'm saying. Rondell Moore is going to do this year, so I don't know why I'm drawing a huge line. Did Drake Maye go?
Drake Maye didn't. I was just going to bring that up. Do we want to just do the 3 quarterback build with Drake since we have the double stack?
I mean, a high upside late season quarterback that we have double stacked. I don't know. Is that even appealing?
I knew you were doing a bit.
We talked about the sprint and having the QB spike weeks over the cumulative format. I really like it. I mean, he could have a huge week one of the weeks, and it could be
3 quarterbacks seems like maybe an edge in this format.
It's either that or Alan Lazard.
No,
those are the options.
Maye.
All right. I like going Drake Maye instead of me having to stomach a Darius Slayton pick with Jalen Hyatt on the board.
I like it. I like it too.
All right. Drake
I didn't mean to make us go Rondell Moore over those Giants, by the way. Like we could. I just don't draft.
That's
them.
fine.
We totally went that direction.
No, I think like I wanted a guy who's going to be like helping us get the rookies on. You know, if like Baker doesn't even play much or Polk doesn't play much to start the year, someone like a veteran there, I think fit well. Doesn't have to be Slayton.
I think Moore probably plays a decent amount because they do a lot of 11 personnel in that Ram scheme. So like, and like the way that they were using Tutu Atwell with some of the motion stuff to get him free releases, I think that probably comes over. Zach Robinson was their passing game coordinator last year. He was doing that stuff with McVay.
Now, do they trade for Demarcus Robinson and eventually also replace him like they replaced Tutu?
They might also do that. Yeah,
but at the end of the year when we have Polk and Baker
later.
Do we wish we had I guess no, because this is the sprint, right? I was going to say, do we wish we had the Joshua Palmer week 17, but the Jerry Jeudy gave us additional playoff sprint bringbacks as well. All right.
Yeah, I like what we did at quarterback. I mean, we didn't have to draft Deshaun Watson, so that's a win.
That was a huge win. Thank you.
Yeah.
The Palmer thing, that was a win. The Palmer thing, you could definitely make the case we could have done. It was kind of a bummer that DJ Chark went off right there, right when I said his name, and you seemed receptive to it. And then he went one pick before us, and that's when we took Rondell Moore. It would have been a late round way to play it, bring it back.
Yeah.
All right. Bindles wants me to do Best Ball Uncle Ayahuasca Retreat David Montgomery. I'm just going to give you what I imagine it's like being on ayahuasca, dude. Shout out to all the other content creators out here looking to get those clicks. CJ Stroud, Aaron Rodgers with Brees Hall, brother. Drake Maye, far out. Where'd the team go? Shit, fuck. Brees Hall. Jonathan Brooks, dude. These dudes have like one ACL between them. Raheem Mostert, sure hope we get touchdowns from last year in 2024. Jalen Wright, what are we, a bunch of fucking handcuffs? Ray Davis, dude, should have been Vidal. That guy's agent is hella chill. Nico Collins, brother. Far out. Zay Flowers. You had me at Flowers. Xavier Worthy, we're not worthy of this brother on our team. Tyler Lockett, brother. I think that dude sold me a house once. Jerry Jeudy. Guy's got no fucking dog, man. Ja'Lynn Polk. He's the man that's going to get Drake Maye on the field. Javon Baker. Now that's a guy with some dog. Rondell Moore. That's a name I haven't heard for a hot minute. Short King Summer, brother. What? Am I tweaking, or do we got two Daltons on this team? What a fucking zoomer name, dude. Dalton Kincaid and Dalton Schultz. Chill structure 3582.
That was Davis Stone. But how many times you said brother? There was a little dog the bounty hunter in there, I think.
I did.
Did I ever tell you guys that I've actually met Dog the Bounty Hunter once?
No.
When I worked at the National Cemetery.
Was there a bounty out on you at one point?
No. He was actually filming for his TV show. His, I believe it's his dad or one of his relatives is buried at Fort Logan National Cemetery where I work. And they came out to visit him, going to the grave and filming that. So I got to meet Dog the Bounty Hunter, brother. Do you guys have any other non-ayahuasca tripped thoughts on this lineup?
I mean,
This
you
is how you're
kind
supposed to drop
of
this
summed it up pretty well.
What was the
Nailed it,
hardest
brother.
part for me was normally when I do the lineup reviews, I just do them really fast, and I was like really having to slow myself down.
You were in a real nice burnt out zone. Like I was like, this dude. At various points, I was like, this guy has been doing way too much for a long time.
Oh my god. I guess for real talk, it would have been just if we felt like we got behind at wide receiver on this team.
We did, but I think we survived.
And I was going to say, even at running back, I think I wind up doing a lot more 6 running back builds than we do on the stream, and that you feel comfortable with Pete. And I think this group with Jonathan Brooks, with Mostert, there's some real games played for agility, but we do have Wright behind that, Ray Davis. I think that would, if I was going to point at one thing that I'm like a little concerned about, it might be that, but I don't think it was wrong. I think with the receiver stuff that you mentioned, and then also the 3-week sprint with the ways that receivers hit spike weeks, I think you want the outs at receiver. So you have to be thin at running back. So I think in this format, that was something that I kind of came around to late. I want to be comfortable being thin at running back so I can have the extra spike week potential at receiver over the course of the 3 weeks combined.
Yep.
Yeah, I think, when you do these builds, we're going to need like one of Lockett or Jeudy to hit in a pretty big way, and then one of the New England receivers to hit in a pretty big way. And then that kind of unlocks where you basically say, hey, I'll take my Polk versus your Jameson Williams and Christian Watson. Like if you can win that 2v2, then you're good.
Yeah. And this is part of the reason I like Polk is that like in this environment, that's kind of the bet you're making. It's not like you need him to be an absolute smash. So the wide receiver gets so thin and it thins out so quickly that it's really hard to be deep at wide receiver plus have, plus hitting on tight end, quarterback, a great running back. So if you get Polk or any of it's not just Polk, but some of these other guys in these rounds, I take a lot of Josh Downs, not like the highest upside archetype, but like I think he can play. I think these guys who can like basically come in and operate like a 6th or 7th round pick for you. It's a pretty big win in this environment.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Do you want to look at our buddy John Badge Bros team? He says he went team onslaughty. Do we think that's good?
So it looks like the one onslaughts with Miami, Tua, Achane, Tyreek Hill, and Jonnu. And then
that seems good.
Indianapolis, Richardson, 80 Mitchell, Downs there as well. Yeah, I mean, to me, that's completely fine. I think if you do like 6 or 7 guys from a team, maybe you're like a bit too overkill if it's expensive pieces. But
and I also think like if you're making that bet and you're wanting it to be like we talked about the Stroud thing, like the breakout team, right? Like I think it makes more sense with the Colts and Miami a little bit. Like Miami's already priced in that way, right? But like if you want the Stroud Nico Dell thing from last year where they were all like directionally correct.
Yeah. And the thing, I mean, Miami, you have 2 early pieces, H.N. Hill, but then Tua and Jonnu are cheap. With Indiana, he has Richardson. Why do I keep saying Indiana? With the Colts, he has Richardson, who's kind of expensive. I guess I would argue 80 Mitchell at 93 is pretty rich.
Yeah, I noticed that when he went off the board, that being early, but he's rising. And I guess he goes a little earlier here, but he's rising in BBM too. And he's correlated. And, you know, I definitely has a pretty high late season ceiling. So, and wide receiver was like flying off at this point as well. So I actually think it's probably fine. They're
saying a lot of good things about him out of camp too. They seem to
already drumbeat stuff of like this dude. Yeah. And I think it probably matters with him to some degree because like the whole thing was sort of like effort and like which version of this guy are you getting? And it seems like we're getting the good version so far.
Once he fell in the draft, he did need to slide. And now it's like, well, the Colts are pretty in on that, you know? They had their quotes right after the draft. They were really defensive of him with some of the effort stuff. And then the drumbeat stuff is coming. And the profile was one that a lot of people had in the first round. And, you know, the athleticism's there, all that stuff. So
very kind of boom bust profile, in my opinion. But, like, you got to be open-minded to the boom. You know, if you're kind of like, boom bust profile, and I think he busts, that can be – sometimes they don't bust, you know? Yeah, so I think for me, too, like, I'm just not clicking Michael Pittman. And so not clicking Michael Pittman and then not being open-minded on 80 Mitchell is like, you know, if I fast forward myself to December, like things I could be most mad at myself for, like taking a correct stand on Michael Pittman, but then being out on 80 Mitchell, who I was for what you didn't feel strongly, you just didn't take him. Like I'm like I'm gonna come back and just like pummel myself, you know. You gotta get ahead of the things that'll make you most frustrated with yourself.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Yeah, if you're out on the it was like last year I had the moment where I was like fading Ridley and then I was like, shit, I don't have enough Christian Kirk. It's like if I'm right about this, like there's gonna be a way to benefit from it.
Right. Just like thinking through those spots and not taking accidental stands is just such a important part of this.
All right, guys, this was fun. Like I mentioned, I do have a new video out on the Deposit Kingdom channel on elite tight ends. Really like how that turned out. Definitely check that out. What have you guys been up to this week? Gretch, I know did you have a stream earlier?
I did a stream earlier today. Went over 1,000 subs in 2 weeks. Nice. Love all you guys. Thank you so much for subbing. Gonna be monetizing the shit out of you guys going forward.
Just imagine if you did ayahuasca, Ben. How many subs?
I mean, I could have 2K already. Because I went to Arizona to visit my brother and some family and enter some more slows. So I wanted to get caught up to speed on a lot of the drafts that ended over the weekend from my first run in earlier May, and the stuff that I'll be doing in the coming streams. So got that going. Also, just fun little side note before we go. Our buddy Hassan Rahim's in my Twitter DMs right now. Because the USA beat Pakistan in the T20 World Cup. Little Omni Fantasy update here. The USA upset Pakistan. He says, "Time to burn my passport." He's given up his Pakistani heritage. Shout out our buddy.
Is this cricket? This is cricket?
This is cricket. Yeah. Remember we
the US, first of all.
Yeah.
Congrats to us on having a cricket team. Did not know.
Congrats.
We have a cricket team? And we're beating Pakistan at it?
Right. It's like a massive upset. Pakistan was like one of the top, there's like 7 or 8 favorites. And
I remember from Omni, it was like,
not. Yeah.
US was not high.
Complete afterthought. No. Wow. Somebody else sent me something because of Omni.
Did we win the whole thing? Or we just upset them in a.
No. This is like the round robin stage.
Oh,
but we won our first matchup against like Canada, and there's a dude on our team that had 10 sixes, which is when they hit it outside the ring. It's like the equivalent of a home run in baseball. And so during his run, he had 10 homers. Dude. Basically, he's awesome. This dude.
I am so psyched that we beat Canada in cricket. That is awesome.
That's right.
That is just great. I mean, I like Canada. Does Canada have a cricket tradition? I assume that they have a better one than us.
Yeah, I mean they're Brits, right?
Yeah, you think.
Commonwealth
weigh
and
in
whatnot?
the comments. Does Canada have a great cricket tradition? That's what I want answered in the comments this week.
I'm just
it went to overtime. A super over. That's what it's called.
So what does that mean? The match lasts a month? Is that what happens? It's a cricket joke.
I don't. It's the T20, so it's like it's a limited one. This is my other guys sent this message. The guy who bolts, so you play one extra, and if it's tied after 20 overs each, you play one extra each, whatever it is, over. 6 pitches each. The U.S. won. The guy who bowled that for the U.S. is a full-time software engineer at Oracle. This is a crazy upset.
What would you rather do? Keep doing this stream or watch a cricket game right now? One or the other.
The guy who bowled an extra super over is a full-time software engineer at Oracle. It's the greatest thing. It's like Rudy or something, Pete.
Plug something on Legendary Upside, Pat, so we can end this stream.
Ben mentioned that Sacrilegious had an article out earlier this week on diversification, but also using those principles to talk through the sprint format and why diversification is such an important part of the sprint, the way this works with best ball. In a way that's, I think, kind of surprising, like how much it matters, because we're used to this format from FFPC, high stakes stuff, but there's no waivers here. We're not changing out any players. We're not doing start sit. The guys who score the most points are hitting all the lineups. So the diversification stuff actually is like a really important part is to think through. He gives some good examples in that. Also shared some other thoughts on diversification that I think are really interesting. So check out that article. And yeah, we have a rankings podcast that will be going live here. So on the Legendary Upside YouTube channel or Legendary Upside podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. Still working on my article on the running back landscape, hoping to get that out at the end of the week. But yeah, that'll be out soon. LegendaryUpside.com/perks. Still have some $50 Underdog credits to give out for yearly subscriptions, but I need your username.
Also, I forgot. I got a doubleheader with David Kitchen tonight. Randomizer followed by Best Ball After Dark. So the wheel is loaded. Some of the best sets of prompts I've had in a long time. So that'll be a fun time. 8 p.m. Eastern on my YouTube channel. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the Ship Chasing channel. ADP Chasing will be back on Monday at 3:30 p.m. Eastern, and then the three of us holding down the fort every single Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern for Gretsch, for Pat, for the United States cricket team, who's doing us all proud. We'll see you guys next time.